Up, mutants? Welcome back. Streebo here with you from mutantville.com. It's time for another Streeborama vlog because I got some stuff that I would like to talk about. A subject that's very near and dear to my heart. Because when I first discovered the joys of the internet and message boards and fan sites and blogging and whatnot back in 2003, I was so excited to meet people that shared the same love that I had for, whatever it was, horror films, science fiction, superheroes, fantasy, what have you. When I first discovered the internet and I was opening up and going to message boards and engaging other people, I literally felt like I had just found my fellow star children, that we were all out here for the same reasons, wanting the same things, that is to just enjoy more of what we loved and to share our love of specific genres. In this case, we'll talk horror, since the title of the video is Tilting at Horror Windmills. And that should kind of give you an idea of my overall feeling on this now, because over the years I've gone from trying to be completely open with people and just expressing my love and joy of movies to having to have a bit of separation and a little bit of a barrier and taking a step back from any kind of online interaction, where I really only like to talk to people that I know, or preferably in person, because no matter what I say about a film, whether I love it or hate it, invariably there's always somebody that comes behind me that uses whatever examples I gave as positives, as strengths. They'll use those exact same things as negatives. I thought so and so's performance was great, it was nuanced, it was this, the plot was fantastic, it drove it forward, I understood it from beginning to end. They'll say that performance was horrible, there was no plot. And I'm just like, I just throw my hands up. I'm like, what? It just doesn't matter what I say. If I say something's no good, somebody will say it's great. When I first started interacting in the online horror community, whatever you want to call it, there was kind of a dearth of good films at the time, and there was a widespread leaning towards PG-13 films, where they were trying to bring in this teen market rather than making harder R films. And then all of a sudden you had stuff like Rob Zombie's House of a Thousand Corpses come out, which was just gritty and brutal and just surreal and all these fantastic things, or Eli Roth's Hostel. And I'm thinking, okay, well, people have been complaining about PG-13 films, and they said they're not hard enough, and this and that, so they should love these. Well, no, right away people are like, oh, Hostel's horrible, we hate Eli Roth, we hate Rob Zombie. And I just never understood it. There's kind of a mob mentality that arises up out of the internet. You have what I think are a lot of really unimaginative people that kind of follow the lead of whoever it is that they latch onto, and in a lot of places they're just useless sycophants, and they have no qualms about just kind of talking junk to people online. Anything I've said, now people might say the same thing about me, and that I might get into arguments or whatever, but anything I say online I'll say in person, because number one, I mean, it's just a discussion, it's just supposed to be a friendly discussion. But I just kind of got to the point where I'm just tired of people intentionally trying to steal my love of film, or genres, or what have you. Just intentionally just trying to destroy it. There are a lot of people out there that will intentionally troll, but then there are others that are just kind of misguided idiots, which I think are a lot of them out there. And if I've had a big argument with you, I probably think that applies to you. Now, everybody's entitled to their own opinion, obviously. But when people say they're looking for one thing, okay, and they say this over and over, and they kind of use that as an example, we'll kind of stick with PG-13 or remakes, okay, and they say, we're sick of remakes, we're sick of PG-13, and then something comes along that's original, and it's R and it's hard and whatnot, then you think, okay, well, here you're getting what you're asking for, and then yet they go, oh, this is horrible. I have no idea. People are schizophrenic. They don't they don't know what they want, and for the most part, it seems like people just don't know their ass from a hole in the ground. A lot of people were complaining because of the remakes, and I thought at the time, I followed the progress of Project Greenlight 3 and with John Gulager, Clu Gulager, all those guys, and the making of Feast, which turned out to be just a really fun black comedy, splatter flick, monster flick. And I thought, well, here you go. It's not a remake. It's not PG-13. It's not a rehashing of some kind of J-horror film. People should latch onto this. And I tried to promote it, everywhere I went, just as a fan, saying, hey, let's get behind this film. And I went out to see it in the theater. Had a very, very limited release. I think it played like 2 weekends. And it was originally only scheduled for 1 weekend, but they extended it since it made a little bit of money on that first weekend. And people did not care. They did not care. They didn't care. It was everything they said they wanted, but then they didn't want it. And then there's also kind of this mob mentality that comes about. People get on these bandwagons of, I hate Eli Roth or Rob Zombie or whatever. And I'm like, why? I mean, these guys, they acknowledge their sources. They say they want to try to kind of bring back these grindhouse sensibilities, make films that are more brutal or what have you, and then the fans hate them for it. I mean, I never understood. I mean, fans are idiots sometimes. So, I've had to kind of put that separation between me and the fans because, I just get tired of this mob mentality. As a kid, I was bullied a lot. I was raised by a single mother. First day of school, I went and kids stole my jacket the first day of school. I was constantly getting in fights and whatnot. So when I run into people that come up to me and I say, man, this movie's great because of this and this and this, and they go, well, you're stupid because of this, this, and this. And I'm like, well, hey, guess what? I'll argue with you. But there's no point in it. There's no point in it. No point in arguing with anything. And then I get really disappointed when fans are just disrespectful to the pioneers of the genre, when they just show utter and complete ignorance. Like, a lot of people were really down on the last few George Romero films, and the guy's the pioneer. And, if you're a fan of the genre, and you should show some reverence and respect towards the individuals that built it for you to enjoy, and Romero is one of those. And when I see somebody just bashing Romero and saying stuff like, oh, he shouldn't make films anymore, I'm just like, you just shouldn't open your mouth and let words come out anymore because you're a moron. And those things happen. So if you've ever wondered why I don't do as many, or why I haven't done movie reviews on here in a while, is because I'm sick of people stealing my joy from me. I want to be able to watch a movie and enjoy it. And it seems like every time I find something I think is fantastic, and I go and I come up with a review and I put it out there for everybody, the first response is, that movie's horrible. Why would you say that? And it just goes down the line, whether it was Prometheus, Diary of the Dead, what have you. Take your choice. Take your pick. House of a Thousand Corpses. There's always somebody that wants to hate on it. And then on the opposite side, when I find something that I think is just pandering, lowbrow nonsense, like You're Next, and I express my distaste for it, then I get the supporters of the film, coming against me. So it is what it is. I think it was a lost cause, and I'm trying to keep sharing my joy of and love of genre and the films and whatnot with all of you, and I hope you guys will continue to do the same. But I'm not interested in the negativity and the schizophrenic nature of horror fandom anymore. So I'll do more reviews on MVP Mutant Radio, but that's about it. So if you want more Streebo, you can find me over at mutantville.com. Halloween's coming up, so expect more. See ya.